Good day, everyone! Welcome to Gen Ed 15 World Literature. I'm glad to have you here as we begin our journey into one of the most fascinating areas of human expression literature. Today, we'll start with Lesson 1 Introduction to World Literature. Before we dive in, I'd like you to reflect on a simple question. What would life be like without stories? Imagine a world with no novels, no poems, no plays, no songs that carry deep meaning. Without literature, life would lose a certain richness. It is more than just words on a page, it is humanity speaking to itself across time, culture, and geography. Literature has been described in many ways by great thinkers. Norman Rush once said, literature is humanity talking to itself, suggesting that it is an ongoing conversation across centuries, generations, cultures, and civilizations. Boris Pasternak called it an art of discovering something extraordinary about ordinary people, and saying with ordinary words something extraordinary, reminding us that literature often takes the experiences of everyday life, love, loss, joy, and struggle, and transforms them into something profound. Robert Frost described literature simply as a performance in words, comparing it to a stage play in our minds where characters and ideas come alive. Henry Van Dyke defined it as writings which interpret the meanings of nature and life, showing how literature helps us understand not just the world around us, but also the world within. Arsenia Tan from the University of Santo Tomas summed it up beautifully. Literature is life which presents human experience. Indeed, every piece of literature carries the heartbeat of human existence. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, the word literature comes from the Latin litera, meaning letter. At its most basic, it means acquaintance with letters, the ability to read and write. In the earliest times, the term referred to all forms of written records, historical accounts, legal documents, and religious texts. Over the centuries, however, its meaning evolved. Today, when we speak of literature, we usually refer to written works considered as art novels, plays, and poems that move us emotionally, make us think critically, and connect us to deeper truths. Literature today is not confined to the written page. It also includes oral traditions such as myths, folk tales, and epics passed down through generations. Many cultures preserve their wisdom, history, and values through spoken word long before the development of writing systems. But why should we study literature? Some may think it is merely for leisure or academic fulfillment, yet its value extends far beyond that. First, literature serves as a mirror of life. It reflects human nature, our joys, fears, hopes, and mistakes. When we read Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, for example, we are not simply reading about two young lovers. We are witnessing the timeless interaction between love and conflict. Second, literature acts as a bridge across cultures and time. Through it, we can travel without moving, experiencing ancient Greece through Homer's Odyssey, medieval Japan through haiku, or the traditions and struggles of Africa through Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart. Third, literature sharpens our language skills. It exposes us to rich vocabulary, varied sentence structures, and artistic ways of using words, all of which can improve our own speaking and writing. Finally, literature fuels imagination and creativity. It asks us to picture settings, characters, and events in our minds, challenging us to think beyond our own experiences and envision possibilities we might never have considered. Of course, not every written work qualifies as good literature. The most enduring pieces share certain qualities that set them apart. Universality allows a work to resonate with people from all times and places, touching on emotions like love, courage, betrayal, and hope that everyone can understand. Artistry refers to the beauty in the choice and arrangement of words. The poetry of Pablo Neruda, for instance, is as much about the sound and rhythm of the language as it is about meaning. Intellectual value challenges our thinking and deepens our understanding of life. Suggestiveness uses symbolism, metaphor, and imagery to open layers of interpretation for the reader. Spiritual value uplifts the human spirit, inspiring moral reflection or motivation. Permanence allows a work to endure across generations, as we see with Homer, Shakespeare, and Rizal. Great literature also balances timeliness, capturing the spirit of its own era with timelessness, remaining relevant even centuries later. And finally, style gives a work its unique voice, enabling us to recognize an author like Edgar Allan Poe or Jane Austen through the distinct way they use language. When it comes to forms, literature is generally divided into two broad categories: poetry and prose. Poetry is written in verse and often employs rhythm, vivid imagery, and carefully chosen words to evoke strong emotions. It can follow a strict rhyme and meter or take the freer form of free verse. Prose, on the other hand, is ordinary written or spoken language without a set rhythmic structure, which is the form used for most novels, short stories, and essays. In closing, we see that literature is far more than an academic subject. It is a living record of human thought, feeling, and imagination. It teaches us empathy by allowing us to live through the eyes of others. It preserves the cultural heritage of peoples across the world and throughout history. It challenges our minds, enriches our language, and nourishes our creativity. As we progress through this course, I encourage you to approach each work we read with curiosity and openness. Do not simply focus on the surface of the words. Listen for the voices behind them, the truths they whisper, and the emotions they carry. Remember this: when we read literature, we are not just learning about the world, we are hearing humanity speak. And sometimes, if we listen closely, it feels as though it is speaking directly to us.